When I was 18, I thought I had screwed up my entire life. I had always been this motivated kid. And when I was 11 years old, I went door to door marketing my babysitting services on index cards because I wanted this pair of Adidas tennis shoes and Levi's jeans. They were the coolest. I even graduated early from high school to get a jump start in college. But when all my friends were going off to school, I was waitressing at Big Boy. Now my dad, who was an engineer at Ford Motor Company, we were talking one day, and he said, listen, Cheryl, if you're gonna waitress, why not apply at Ford? At least then maybe you'll get benefits, and maybe they'll even pay for your school. Well, he was right. They hired me on as a dishwasher, and soon I got promoted to be a waitress, and then they let me into their apprenticeship program. And I'm thinking, great, electrician, pipe fitter, I knew what those were, I got this. But they put me into tool and die, which I had no idea what that was. I thought I was going to make tools and dye them. Well, I soon found out that wasn't the case. I show up to the Rouge Complex on my first day. It's on the edge of Detroit. I'm 22, from the suburbs. I've got a blonde ponytail and these big-ass bangs because it's the 80s. And they hand me a blue pair of coveralls. They're really stiff, the crotch is down to the knees. I've got these safety goggles and steel-toed boots, and they're all 2 sizes too big. And I could feel 1,200 eyes of the 600 guys that I'm going to be working with staring at me. And I find out that tool and die meant I'm going to be working on dies that go into these huge 2,500-ton presses that stamp out car parts. And I was going to have to get inside those. And I'm thinking, oh crap, what did I get myself into? This is what happens when you get pregnant when you're 17. Well, I muscled my way through literally. And it actually turned out to be the best move because it was a preparation for a foundation in engineering. So I moved my way up pretty quickly in engineering, and I became an engineering supervisor. Then I got kind of stuck for like 10 years. My boss calls me into his office one day for one of those career discussions. And he said, Cheryl, what's next? And honestly, I was pretty happy with the progress I made. I could never imagine being a manager. I hadn't seen any women managers. All I could see is I'm going to have to act like him. So I shared that with him, and he looks down his glasses at me with the most genuine look on his face. And he says, kid, I don't know what you're talking about, but I'll try to get you some help. So he sets me up with Linda, who is the highest ranking female in all of manufacturing engineering. And I'm waiting outside her office to speak to her. And I can hear her speaking to her team, telling them, listen, we have to get these engineers home from launch. They need to be with their families. And at that point, I could see myself being in her shoes, because that's how I would be as a manager. Well, she shared some tough love with me and some lessons that I still rely on today, and it changed my entire personal and professional life. And I'm happy to report I just retired a few months ago with 31 years. I achieved that manager position. I had a team of 500 under me, a global team, and now I'm going to take those lessons that I learned and bridge that gender gap in automotive and manufacturing.